The whispering walls of Ashgrove Hall, the wind carried a chill across the rolling hills of Yorkshire, tugging at the heather and bending the tall grass along the narrow road. At its end, shrouded in early autumn mist, stood Ashgrove Hall, a sprawling stately home of faded grandeur. Ashgrove had watched centuries pass, from the clatter of carriages to the sputter of motor cars, from lavish balls to years of abandonment. Its stone walls were weathered, and clinging to every crevice like a stubborn memory. But now it waited, and so did Eleanor Blake. The scent of damp earth and wood smoke filled her senses. But Ashgrove was different. Whispers clung to its name. Tales of candlelit figures pacing the halls. She had a grant to finish and a deadline to meet. A haunting melody echoing from locked rooms. Even the locals avoided its gates after dusk. With a notebook clutched tight to her chest, she stared at the hall's looming facade. She stepped from the cab, boots crunching against the gravel drive. "Eleanor Blake," she replied, stepping into the vast entrance hall. Her boots clicked against marble tiles etched with age. "Here we go," she murmured. As a historical researcher, Eleanor had spent years cataloging the forgotten histories of England's manor houses. But Eleanor was not one for superstition. Dust motes danced in the light pouring from stained glass windows. Each item told a fragment of Ashgrove's story. Over centuries, Ashgrove passed through generations of Whitlocks, some known for philanthropy, others for scandal. Ashgrove's been sleeping a long time. Some floors aren't as steady as they look. Rumors spoke of a doomed love affair, a secret child, and her untimely disappearance. Some claimed her spirit still lingered, waiting for justice. Portraits of severe-looking men and delicate women lined the walls, their painted eyes following her every move. The heavy oak doors groaned open. A middle-aged caretaker, Mr. Thorne, greeted her with a curt nod. "You're the historian, then?" he asked, his voice gravelly. Yes, the air inside was cool and faintly scented with beeswax and decay. But as she strained her ears, the melody grew clearer, a lilting tune, almost like a lullaby. The room was breathtaking, to stories of shelves crammed with leather-bound volumes, ladders reaching to ornate plaster ceilings. Sunlight slanted through tall windows, illuminating motes of dust and golden filigree. Empty, its pages revealed a letter, dated 1762, written by Isabel Whitlock herself. "When the moon is full, I shall make my escape. Should these words be found, know that my love was true, though the world would condemn us both." The humming had ceased. "Careful as you walk," Thorne said, leading her toward the grand staircase. Eleanor smiled faintly. "I'll keep that in mind." The library's secrets. The library was her first destination. Here, she began her work, cataloging records, letters, and journals. The hall had been built in 1674 by Sir Edmund Whitlock, a merchant-turned-nobleman whose fortune came from shipping and trade. One name appeared repeatedly: Isabel Whitlock. An 18th-century heiress, Isabel had been renowned for her beauty and sharp intellect, but she was also shrouded in mystery. Eleanor brushed off the chill creeping up her spine. She read on, losing herself in the inked words of centuries past until a faint sound broke her concentration. A soft humming. At first, she thought it was the wind slipping through cracks in the stone. Eleanor rose, her notebook forgotten. "Hello," she called. Silence. She crossed the room to check the hallway beyond. "It's just the acoustics," she told herself firmly. Old houses make strange noises, but when she turned back, she found a book lying open on her table, one she hadn't touched. "They will never allow it, but I cannot live a lie." The hairs on Eleanor's neck prickled. A flicker in the dark that night, Eleanor stayed in one of the hall's guest rooms. The caretaker had offered to stay nearby in case she needed anything, but she assured him she would be fine. Outside, the wind howled through the trees lining the estate. The room was cold, its high canopy bed draped with heavy curtains. She tried to sleep, but something kept her awake. A faint light flickered under the door. Candlelight. Eleanor hesitated. She hadn't lit any candles. Sliding out of bed, she padded across the wooden floor and eased the door open. The corridor beyond was empty, but there, at the far end, a glow retreated around the corner. "Mr. Thorne," she called softly. No answer. Driven by equal parts curiosity and unease, she followed. The air was thick with dust and the scent of old wood. Moonlight streamed through a round window, illuminating a trunk in the center of the room. The candlelight bobbed ahead, always just out of reach. leading her down twisting hallways and narrow servant stairs. Finally, it vanished through a small door she hadn't noticed earlier. Pushing it open, Eleanor found herself in the attic. As she stepped closer, the floor groaned ominously beneath her weight. But she pressed on, kneeling to examine the trunk. It wasn't locked. Inside lay a faded blue gown, delicate lace yellowed with age. Beneath it, letters tied with a silk ribbon. She lifted one, her hands trembling. "At midnight, we shall leave this place and the chains that bind us. Dearest Isabel, the carriage will be waiting by the old oak," Eleanor gasped. The letters confirmed what history had only hinted at. Isabel had planned to elope with her lover. A creak sounded behind her. She turned sharply. In the moonlight stood a woman in a flowing gown, her face pale, her eyes sorrowful. "Let the world know I was not ashamed. You found it," the woman whispered. Eleanor's breath caught in her throat. Many have tried to uncover her story. Few get as far as you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to intrude. The figure's gaze softened. "Tell them the truth," she said. But the letters and the gown proved beyond doubt that Isabel had loved deeply and defied her family to follow her heart. And then, like mist in morning sun, she vanished. Ashgrove's redemption. When morning came, Eleanor packed the letters and gown with utmost care. She found Mr. Thorne in the kitchen, sipping tea. "Sleep well?" he asked, eyes twinkling as though he already knew the answer. "I learned something," Eleanor said carefully. "About Isabel Whitlock." Thorne nodded slowly. In the stillness of the library or the shadows of the attic, one might sense the presence of Isabel Whitlock, a reminder that even history's forgotten voices can find their way home. "I think she wants her story told," Eleanor said. "The truth, not the scandal." "Then you'd best tell it," he said simply. Eleanor spent the next weeks piecing together Isabel's tale. The Whitlocks had suppressed the truth for centuries, fearing disgrace. On the day Eleanor's article was published, Ashgrove seemed to glow in the soft autumn sun. That night, as she left the hall for the last time, she thought she saw a figure at the upstairs window, a woman in a blue gown, watching with quiet gratitude. Eleanor smiled. "Rest well, Isabel," and for the first time in centuries, the hall seemed at peace. Ashgrove Hall still stands today, its walls whispering secrets of love, loss, and redemption. So, the next time you wander the Yorkshire countryside and glimpse a stately home half hidden in the mist, listen closely. Perhaps its walls have a story yet to tell.